And welcome back, everybody, to Matt Sports Talk. Now we're going to dive into the playoff race on the men's side, and this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. So without further ado, let's dive into that. Obviously, starting off on the bottom, of course, the Maple Leafs of Goshen are eliminated. They're 0-17, and with the Mount Vernon win last night, they are officially locked in the playoff race. Marion is officially eliminated. So we know the 8 teams that have made it into the men's side of the league tournament. So let's break it down top to bottom. Of course, Marion and Goshen are both eliminated. So as I alluded to it just a second ago, I will not be mentioning anything about Marion or Goshen because we know both those teams are eliminated. So starting top to bottom, 1 through 8, Grace is officially the 1 seed because of their win last night against St. Francis. So Grace gets the number 1 seed, home court advantage throughout for the 3rd straight year, I might add. So that's really amazing to see, especially with the wonderful job that head coach Scott Moore has done for his Lancers. And of course, his assistant coaches have done a great job as well. When Coach Moore has been out this year, his assistant coaches have really stepped up, gotten him some big wins. So obviously, big congratulations to head coach Scott Moore and company for securing that number 1 seed and the first automatic bid into the national tournament as well. And they are another school that could easily host the 2 opening round matchups coming up in mid-March. So they for sure are going to be that number 1 seed. Bethel is 13-4. Bethel has officially locked that number 2 seed in the Crossroads League tournament. So for the Pilots, they are guaranteed the first 2 rounds hosting at home if they beat the 7 seed in the opening round and then beat the winner of the 3 and the 6. Bethel would then host in the 2nd round at home as well. Now, this is where it gets just a tad bit more complicated. Now for Huntington, if Huntington beats Goshen on Saturday, head coach Corey Alford and company would officially lock that number 3 seed. I think they've locked it already, because they will have had one more league road win than Spring Arbor has had. So obviously for the Foresters, it's pretty easy for them. Beat Goshen on Saturday, you're the 3 seed, and you would be at 12 wins. Now, this is where it really gets interesting. You have Spring Arbor and St. Francis, the 4 and the 5, both at 10-7. Spring Arbor now ahead of St. Francis for that final home playoff spot for hosting coming up on Tuesday night. Now Spring Arbor obviously holding that tiebreaker over the Cougars because Spring Arbor upset the Pilots last night, and the Spring Arbor Cougars, I should say, upset the Pilots of Bethel last night, and the St. Francis Cougars got swept by Bethel. So Spring Arbor officially holding the common opponent tiebreaker. So they both are 10-7. They both play each other on Saturday in Fort Wayne. So what implication does that have in the playoff race? Well, it's pretty simple. Now, the first time these 2 teams met in Michigan, the Cougars were victorious by 2 points. The Cougars of St. Francis, I should say. So what does that mean for Saturday? Well, if Spring Arbor wins on Saturday, they officially lock that number 4 seed and would host the opening round game coming up next Tuesday night. If St. Francis wins, then St. Francis gets the number 4 seed and they would host the last home playoff match next Tuesday night. The question is, which of those teams would be the 5 seed? Well, for Spring Arbor, if they win, they would officially be the 4 seed. If Indiana Wesleyan beats Marion at home Saturday, if Spring Arbor beats St. Francis, Spring Arbor would officially be the 4. IWU would move up to the 5 seed because of the upset win over Bethel. St. Francis got swept by Bethel, so IWU holds the common opponent tiebreaker over St. Francis. So with a Spring Arbor win and an IWU win on Saturday, Spring Arbor would be the 4, IWU would be the 5, St. Francis would fall to the 6. If St. Francis wins on Saturday and IWU wins, St. Francis would be the 4, Spring Arbor would be the 5, IWU would be the 6 because Spring Arbor holds the common opponent tiebreaker over IWU because of the win over Grace. IWU got swept by Grace. Now, if Spring Arbor wins and St. Francis loses, or vice versa, and IWU loses to Marion, then IWU is still the 6th seed, and they would go more than likely to Huntington in the first round. So again, Spring Arbor, St. Francis, IWU, it's kind of complicated trying to figure it out exactly what could happen, where all the seeding would be. Now we know for sure for IWU, they can only get up to the 5 seed at maximum, but that is only if Spring Arbor wins, IWU wins, and St. Francis loses, then IWU would jump to the 5, and they would be going to Spring Arbor on Tuesday night, whereas if St. Francis wins, IWU remains the 6 seed, and they would be going to Huntington coming up next Tuesday night. So obviously, we know a lot more now. And again, after the Saturday matches are complete, or Saturday matchups are complete, then we'll know exactly who's going to be going where, and I'll be breaking all that down in my recap videos coming up on Monday, giving you a preview of all the playoff matches. Now, for Taylor being the 7 seed, Taylor is guaranteed to be ahead of Mount Vernon because Taylor does have that win over Spring Arbor, and Mount Vernon got swept by Spring Arbor, so the Trojans officially would hold the common opponent tiebreaker over the Cougars. So Taylor officially, at least I would think at this point, Taylor should be that number 7 seed, and then they would be traveling right back to Mishawaka to play the Pilots of Bethel on Tuesday night. Remember, Taylor travels to Bethel on Saturday to wrap up the regular season, and those two teams more than likely will be meeting up again once again in Mishawaka on Tuesday night. And then Mount Vernon, they have officially locked themselves, at least I would think, as the 8 seed, and they will be traveling they will be traveling to Grace coming up on Tuesday night. They host Grace at home Saturday to wrap up the regular season, and then those two teams will be meeting up again on Tuesday night. And the difference on Tuesday night, it will be in Winona Lake, and that is your updated playoff scenario for the men's side. So I hope this video was super, super helpful to you, and specifically breaking everything down, where teams are going to be, where teams are going to be at. So I hope it was super helpful to you. And if it was, please like, comment, or subscribe. Any one of those options really helps me out. So I appreciate you so much for watching this video, and have a great weekend. God bless.